You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 25th of February. India's PM Modi arrives in Israel, defense and trade on agenda. Pakistan PM would have died. Trump makes big claim on India's Operation Sindoor. And Sri Lanka arrests former spy chief over 2019 Easter bombings. And now for all the details. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday began his two-day state visit to Israel with defense and trade on agenda. The visit underscores efforts by Modi and Israel's leader Benjamin Netanyahu to deepen diplomatic ties. The roads of Jerusalem were adorned with the flags of Israel and India as the country geared up to welcome the Indian PM. Upon arrival, PM Modi held a brief meeting with Netanyahu. He also interacted with the Indian diaspora, whom the Indian PM claims have made a big contribution in strengthening the India-Israel friendship. He later in the evening addressed the Israeli parliament Knesset, becoming the first Indian Prime Minister to do so. Earlier this week, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he aimed to strengthen the relationship with a series of decisions set to increase political, financial and security cooperation between the two countries. Modi's first visit took place in 2017, which was also the first ever by an Indian Prime Minister to Israel. In what may be his most dramatic foreign policy claim yet, US President Donald Trump has suggested he did not just diffuse tensions between India and Pakistan, but without his involvement, Pakistan PM Shehbaz Sharif would have died. Trump has now multiple times credited himself for preventing a wider conflict. A report.
In what appears to be a misspeak, U.S. President Donald Trump, during his State of the Union address on Tuesday, said that the Pakistani Prime Minister would have died without his involvement, while referring to military tensions between India and Pakistan in May 2025. However, it was unclear whether that was what he intended to say, as he continued to describe his role in preventing a wider conflict. Citing praise from Shehbaz Sharif, Trump claimed he had saved 35 million people and pledged to make peace wherever he can. Trump has repeatedly asserted that he mediated last year's conflict between India and Pakistan, a claim that New Delhi continues to reject.
Restoring safety for Americans at home, and we are also restoring security for Americans abroad. Our country has never been stronger. In my first 10 months, I ended 8 wars, including Cambodia. Isn't it funny? Sick people. Cambodia and Thailand, Pakistan and India would have been a nuclear war. 35 million people, said the Prime Minister of Pakistan, would have died if it were not for my involvement. Kosovo and Serbia, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Congo and Rwanda, and of course the war in Gaza, which proceeds at a very low level. It's just about there. And I want to thank Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner for your help. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jared.
Last week, while speaking at the Board of Peace meeting in Washington, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif also praised Trump for his alleged mediation in the conflict and called him a man of peace and savior of the people of South Asia.
Your timely and very effective intervention to achieve ceasefire between India and Pakistan potentially averted loss of tens of millions of people. You have truly proved to be a man of peace. And let me say, Mr. President, you are truly savior of South Asia.
In May 2025, a brief armed conflict took place between the two hostile neighbors after India launched Operation Sindoor on terrorist camps in Pakistan as a response to the Pahalgam terror attack in India's Jammu and Kashmir, in which 26 civilians were killed based on religion. India has from time to time accused Pakistan of supporting cross-border terrorism, which Pakistan denies.
And at least 9 people were killed in 2 separate militant attacks in Pakistan on Tuesday, underscoring escalating violence and growing tensions with Afghanistan. In Kohat, city of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, militants ambushed a police patrol, killing 5 officers and setting their vehicle on fire. 2 injured civilians later died. In another attack in Punjab's Bhakkar district, a suicide bomber targeted the Dajjal inter-provincial checkpost, killing 2 police officials and injuring 5 others, including 2 polio workers. The banned Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan claimed responsibility for both assaults. The attacks come days after Pakistan carried out airstrikes inside Afghanistan, targeting what it described as militant hideouts linked to recent suicide bombings. Islamabad accuses Kabul of providing safe haven to anti-Pakistan militants, a charge Afghanistan denies. The Taliban government condemned the airstrikes as a violation of its sovereignty, while the United Nations said at least 13 civilians were killed in the cross-border strikes. Sri Lanka's Criminal Investigation Department has arrested the former Chief of State Intelligence Service, Retired Major-General Suresh Sallay, over the 2019 Easter Sunday bombings that killed more than 260 people. He was taken into custody early Wednesday in a suburb of Colombo on charges of conspiracy and abetting the attacks, according to investigators. Sallay, appointed intelligence chief after Gotabaya Rajapaksa became president in 2019, has denied any involvement. In 2023, Britain's Channel 4 reported allegations that he had links with the Islamist suicide bombers and had met them before the coordinated attacks on 3 churches and 3 hotels. A whistleblower claimed the plot was allowed to proceed to influence the 2019 presidential election, which Rajapaksa won after campaigning on national security. Sri Lankan authorities initially blamed a local jihadist group, though critics also faulted officials for ignoring prior warnings from Indian intelligence about an imminent attack. The bombings killed 45 foreign nationals and severely damaged the country's tourism sector. Sri Lanka's Supreme Court later fined former President Maithripala Sirisena and 4 senior officials over security lapses. The United Nations has urged the government to release withheld findings from previous investigations. Nepal's interim Prime Minister Sushila Karki, after rounds of meeting with security agencies on Tuesday, called on voters to exercise their rights, claiming the government has not left any stones unturned for the smooth conduct of the election slated for 5th of March. She has also assured the voters about security arrangements. Karki announced all mechanisms are operational with necessary vigilance, strict monitoring and effective coordination, keeping in mind the potential challenges and risks. With about a week left for the elections and violence in southern plains of the nation, the government has been expediting security at the highest levels on a daily basis. The poll, which comes 6 months after the Gen Z uprising of September, is being observed with caution. With hundreds of inmates on loose and higher number of polling stations deemed sensitive in comparison to the previous elections, security has been revamped all across the nation. Hundreds of devotees gathered in India's Barsana town on Tuesday to celebrate Laddoo Holi, marking the start of Holi festivities. Linked to Lord Krishna and Radha, the ritual saw worshippers joyfully throwing laddus and colours. Take a look.
Hindu devotees in India's northern town of Barsana on Tuesday celebrated Laddoo Holi, a traditional pre-Holi ritual linked to Hindu deity Lord Krishna, in which worshippers throw traditional sweets, laddus, and colored powder at each other as part of the festivities. Participants were seen tossing wrapped sweets into the air and dancing amid chants and music. A reveller, who traveled from Haridwar, described the festival as a blessing. Another devotee said they had brought about 125 kilograms of laddus for the occasion.
नंदगांव में निमंत्रण देते हैं हमारे जो बरसाने के नंदगांव वाले देते हैं तो ये बुलाते हैं वहाँ से कि नंदगांव से हमारे यहाँ पे बरसाना में लड्डू होली खेलने का आनंद आए और यहाँ पे लाखों में श्रद्धालु आज आए हुए हैं और बहुत ही आनंद का दिन है।
बहुत आनंद आ रहा है। लड्डू एक ये पर्व है, ये खुशी है, ये राधा रानी की कृपा है जो उन्होंने यहाँ तक हमें बुलाया और आज लड्डू होली में शामिल होने का मौका मिला। हम हरिद्वार से आए हैं और लगभग एक सिंगल पीस लड्डू 1.25 क्विंटल लड्डू पैक करके लाए हैं यहाँ पर।
The Bridge region, consisting of religious towns like Mathura, Vrindavan, Barsana, in northern Uttar Pradesh state, is believed to be the birthplace of Lord Krishna, a major deity in Hinduism. Celebrated at the onset of spring, Holi is associated with the eternal love of Krishna and his consort Radha. The main festival will be celebrated on March 4th this year.
That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.